So today we are going to be discussing part of lesson 8.1, Industry in Ohio. Today we are really just going to focus on the inventions that started in Ohio. They were invented in Ohio, but they came to help a lot of people across the United States and beyond. So that's what we're going to talk about, some of these inventions, and most of them you read about yesterday in the textbook. So let's go over the main idea. So the main idea of this lesson is many technological innovations that originated in Ohio benefited the United States. So you might be thinking, what does that mean? Well, I got good news. We're going to go over it. We're going to break it down. So the first part I want to break down is technological innovations. So technological looks like what? Yeah, technology. And we know technology as the use of skills, ideas, and tools to meet people's needs. And innovation means a new idea, method, or device. So technological innovations simply means it is new ideas of technology to meet the needs of people. Right? So it's these new ideas. And then let's keep going. So new technological innovations are new ideas of technology to meet people's needs that originated in Ohio. Originated means started. So all these new inventions started in Ohio, benefited the United States. So benefit means something that produces good or helpful results. So let me go over the main idea one more time. Many technological innovations, many new ideas of technology that began in Ohio benefited or helped people all over the United States, which is just crazy that they started in Ohio. So we're going to talk about some of those. But first, who is an inventor? An inventor is a person who comes up with new ideas for products or new ways of doing things. So Thomas Edison was an inventor from Ohio. His two major inventions that you need to know for this lesson is the light bulb. And so before the light bulb, you had to either use candles or gas lamps. And as you know, those two things, especially candles and gas lamps, are very dangerous, especially when your house is made of wood. You drop the candle, you have some problems. Also, they weren't very reliable, and gas lamps could be expensive, right? Gas has always been expensive. So, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. And the light bulb uses electricity, so not an actual fire flame. And the light bulb made it possible for people to work and play after dark. And Thomas Edison's other invention that you need to know is called the phonograph. And the phonograph played music. And it's this photo that I'm circling. It played music. And it introduced a new way for people to be entertained in their homes. So this they could have in their homes now and kind of be entertained by it with this music. All right, so Thomas Edison's two inventions that you need to know. He had over 1,000 inventions. Can you believe that? But the two that you need to know is the light bulb, the electric light, and the phonograph, which played music and people could be entertained at home. So the next inventor is Garrett Morgan from Cleveland, Ohio. And this man was actually the grandson of General John Morgan of Morgan's Raid. Interesting fact. All right, and so Garrett Morgan, who was African American, invented the 3-signal traffic light. So after he became the first African American to own a car in Cleveland, can you believe that? The first African American to own a car in Cleveland. When he was driving one day, he saw an accident between an automobile and a buggy. And he thought something needed to be done. So he created this 3-signal traffic light. So it's not like the one we see today where it's red, yellow, and green. Green means go, yellow means slow down, red means stop. But it's a 3-signal traffic light, stop, and then on the other side it's go. So it helped kind of improve traffic, and it improved safety because it organized the roads and how people drove and when they drove. All right, so it made people more safe on the road. Garrett Morgan also invented the safety hood, is what he called it, the safety hood, which is this photo at the bottom of the page. We call it today a gas mask. And it was also to improve the safety of people. The safety hood was used in the presence of smoke, toxic gases, etc. So it was to keep them out so you could still breathe, even though it's smoky or there's toxic, poisonous gases. So what type of people, what occupation, what job do you think would use this safety hood or the gas mask? Yeah, somebody like a firefighter, a soldier, maybe a police officer, maybe someone working in a factory. Okay, the first time this was actually used was by Garrett Morgan in 1916. And what happened was there was an explosion that trapped a group of workers in a tunnel under Lake Erie. So they were mining, and there was an explosion that trapped them in a tunnel. And Garrett Morgan, who was very brave, because he entered into the tunnel and rescued many of those workers using his safety hood. And when people saw that, they said, "Oh, this thing works." And firefighters really saw it and thought they worked. And firefighters all over the United States wanted and bought these safety hoods for protection when they went into burning buildings. So Garrett Morgan really focused on safety of people on the roads and in other areas such as firefighters or soldiers. So James Ritty from Dayton, Ohio, he invented the cash register, the mechanical cash register. And so what this did, it was the first machine that used metal tabs with money amounts on them. So if you look at the photo, you see these little tabs, they would push down, they had money on it, money amounts. And what they would do is that you push it down like, oh, this thing's $1, this thing's 50 cents. And it would add all the money up for you. The machine also kept track of all the sales, totaled the sales. And so this helped businesses keep track of money. It helped them become more organized. And could you imagine doing it by paper pencil, all the people that come into your shop? Think about at Walmart today, where you would have to wait for someone to add it up with paper pencil and keep track. Well, now he actually owned a saloon. It was but he came up with the cash register, which is the photo at the bottom of the page. And then we have Charles Kettering, and he invented the self-starter for automobiles. So it's kind of hard to see, but before this invention, you see the guy at the bottom of the page? He has a crank in his hand, kind of like a stick. And what you'd have to do is you would have to put the crank or the stick-looking thing into a place in your car and kind of crank the engine on. And now, what do you think happens sometimes? You think it's safe? No. All right, so a couple problems with the crank. Number one is some people are just too weak, to crank it, because it took a lot of strength to use the crank and to start your engine. And also sometimes the crank would kick back. The engine would kind of fire a little bit and it would kick back. And the crank would hit people in the face and break their jaw. They would hit them in the wrist and break their wrist. So it was very dangerous as well. So Charles came up with a self-starter for automobiles. Well, all you'd have to do is press a button and put down the pedal, and your automobile or your car would start. Kind of like what we do today when you put a key in the car for it to start. So at this time, the self-starter for automobiles, it improved automobile transportation. So it was easier and safer to own and operate an automobile. And so the last invention that we're going to talk about is from the Wright Brothers. They were originally from Dayton, Ohio as well. And their invention is the first engine-powered airplane. And they took their first flight December 17th, 1903 for 12 seconds in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. So the first airplane was only in the sky for 12 seconds. But think about what life would be like today without the airplane. Because the airplane made it possible for people and goods to travel distances in less time. So if I want to go visit my aunt in Arizona, do you think I'm going to drive there or ride an airplane to get there faster?